Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with the montage! So I, in this, took 2.5 hours of footage, give or take, and condensed it into a 26-minute video. And the sad thing is, this is 2.5 hours of my life that I'm not getting back.
Yeah, but at least we don't have to subject them to the 2.5 hours of your life that they would never get back either.
I'm kind of tempted to put the raw 2.5 hour worth of footage up and just be like, have at it, just enjoy.
Go for it.
It's boring as sin, but you know, there wouldn't be any commentary. I should have done commentary as I was recording it so you could hear the ridiculous
giant
number of
amounts of
times.
cussing that went along with it.
Yes, so we start off there, we have to do Phil's training, which the practice is stupid. All you have to do is go in and break at least one of the little barrels, and then you have to break 1,000 in the time frame.
We have to get 1,000 points.
You have to get 1,000 points, which means you have to play it smart. And then we go straight into the tournaments. I leave the section of the tournament where we go into it so you can see the rule set active, and then I speed it up 500% because the first tournaments,
torture.
Yeah, the first tournaments that we have are just arduous. They're not hard. Even to get the Gemini Journal objective, they're not all that difficult. If you go into it and just go quickly, play smart, it's not all that hard.
Gravity is your friend?
Yeah, gravity is my friend there. Summons are your friend when you can use them. This tournament you can't, so it's...
God, little bitch.
Yes, Yuffie's a pain in the ass. I was thinking of leaving in the boss fights for everything, but I decided against it because the original tournaments, the boss fights really are not difficult. I did, however, leave in the trophy gets, because these are the first time I'm actually beating them. So we got that, we got Lucky Ring and a Serenity Stone, the Pain and Panic Cup, we've got the Cerberus Cup, and then we've got the Titan Cup, and then the Goddess of Fate Cup are the 4 standard cups, and then you get the Paradox Battles, which I wanted to leave the boss fights in for the Paradox Battles, but those boss fights themselves took
forever.
45 minutes, and adding that in with the footage of the regular tournaments was just ridiculous. The Hades Paradox Cup by itself...
It's that stupid dog.
Yes. The Hades Paradox Cup by itself took 1 hour and 45 minutes. And most of that was boss fights. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, most of it was boss fights, because the boss fights in that are ridiculously difficult. We get the Rising Dragon, and Protect Belt, equipment that we will never use, in either case. Titan Cup.
Do it.
The Titan Cup is actually kind of entertaining, because you fight just as your own,
But you get to use your summons.
You get to use your summons.
Hey look, it's Peter Pan.
And I use Peter Pan to abuse it, because this one you actually need a certain score to get the Gemini objective. So I just go in with Pan, and it's basically just milking points. We don't do a lot of damage with the summons. You just farm points, and that's really it. And
that's kind of the whole point of this one anyway. So.
Yeah. And the first 3 Paradox Battles are paradoxes of the first 3 tournaments. So you have the Pain and Panic Paradox, the Titan Cup Paradox, and the Cerberus Cup Paradox.
Yep.
So they are the same things, just with greater difficulty and higher point values. Goddess of Fate Cup is a little bit difficult, but not much. It is what gives you the last Orichalcum Plus needed for the Ultima Weapon crafting. So the first 4 we actually did before the Sephiroth fight, and the last 4 I did after the Sephiroth fight, because I needed Fenrir. So it's a little weird time travel-y for my taste.
Yeah.
We have all 3 of those now. And as you can see, I'm using the Oblivion for those, so...
Because you didn't have the... Oh, hey, that
Genji Shield and Skillful Ring. Genji Shield is Goofy's Lucky Shield. Skillful Ring is the 2nd highest AP ring in the game. Not that we're using the AP rings, because we've got stuff that actually improves stats as well. So...
No rules.
Well, no, there are rules to the Goddess of Fate Cup. The rules change. And the Hades Paradox Cup is the Goddess of Fate Cup on steroids. The Hades Paradox is psychotic. Every 10 rounds, it just changes. And it is just a bitch to do. I'm going to be ranting about that very, very much so, once we get to it.
Yeah, which is not that much farther now.
Yeah, it's not, because I really do just kind of condense the 4 base tournaments as much as possible. The Hades Cup, I cut out everything except for the every 10 boss fights, and I even cut out one or two of those, because no one cares. I think I cut out Pete because he's a joke.
Because why not?
And I cut out Cerberus because we've seen him before. The only difference is their HP is exceptionally higher. Cerberus has like 6 health meters, if not more. Pete has a couple more than he did in his original fight.
Oh, hey, look, it's Hades.
Yeah, Hades that I just kind of throw over because who cares. And that's the Goddess of Fate Cup. So that's the 4 base cups. After this is when it actually gets difficult.
I have to own that thing is hideous, by the way.
Oh, all of the cups in this are hideous. All of them. The Cerberus Cup freaks me right the hell out, because it's got 3 freaking heads.
Well, that one does too.
And we get the Fatal Crest, and the Orichalcum Plus. So
which was the really important thing.
That was what we really needed. And now we have the Paradox Cups, and I actually went through the Paradox Cup once to see how hard it would be to get the point value needed, and it was very difficult. But not unobtainable, so I stopped and went back through it to actually do it on camera, because the Paradox Cups require a ridiculous point value for the Gemini Journal objectives.
And you have to get the Gemini objective if you want to get the ending.
Yes, you have to get the Gemini objective if you want to 100% it. So I wanted to make sure I did it on my first actual go-through of it.
So you don't have to do it again.
Because I'd be damned if I have to do actually win one of these tournaments and do it again.
Yeah.
I believe the Titan Paradox Cup, because that one... No, actually, the Cerberus Cup, I think I did like 5 or 6 times.
It's Leon.
Yeah, the first...
Is it Leon and Yuffie?
Yeah, Leon and Yuffie.
I just see puffs of smoke, and I'm like, it has to be Yuffie.
That's Yuffie. They are the exact same. In fact, this one, I have a hard time because I don't get a finishing move on Yuffie because she won't stand still.
Still, yeah.
So, yeah.
I would believe that.
But the first 3 are just souped-up versions of the original 3, time limit, point-wise, or everything-wise. It's the same magic.
I remember when that last boss was a pain in the ass.
Which one?
The one with the tail and the...
Oh, that wasn't even a boss. That's an enemy.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Which, once we encounter him in the Goddess of Fate Cup, he was one of the only enemies that sent me into a cussing rage. Because his little tailspin attack, he's damn near invincible. And it hits you for most of your health in the Hades Paradox.
Yeah.
But, as we see here...
Cerberus in the dark?
Yes, you have to fight Cerberus in the dark. So, yeah, that's a pain.
That's a thing.
Yeah. So, and since I'm speeding up everything, ridiculous percentages, as you can tell, I put in some remixes. I'll have the link to the artists in the video description. Much thanks to them for putting the download links in their videos, because they did some great Kingdom Hearts battle remixes, or story remix, or sound remix, just all sorts of interesting stuff. So, as you can see here, I'm abusing Peter Pan again, just, going through...
Do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, you really have to do what you gotta do to get the points needed to get the objectives. And I can safely say that these tournaments took something that I really liked in terms of gameplay and just made me never want to pick this game up again. I'm now a firm believer that there is no point ever in trying to 100% this game on normal mode. Just play through it on proud mode and don't deal with the optional crap, because they made the optional crap a pain. Just a flat out pain in the ass. it's not fun, it's just a pain. Like, if they had the objectives just a little bit more obtainable to where just doing it, or the fact that they have to try again and then the journal objective, it's like...
Oh, like the damn cargo climb and it's 15 seconds?
Yeah, like, a lot of it just seems like they're trying to do busy work and try to stretch gameplay out at the expense of fun. So, kind of disappointed in that. These fights, I would have much rather had them been really entertaining fights, really fun fights, rather than overly difficult to where...
Instead, it's just a bunch of frickin'...
Like, the Sephiroth fight was difficult, but it still felt rewarding. These fights don't really feel rewarding because of just how difficult they are. You don't really get to fight. And
well, and you don't get the profit to risk.
Yeah, the
not...
risk to rewards ratio is not worth it. But the thing is, like, I even have to speed up all of the boss fights in the Goddess Effect. Like, I have to speed up everything. There's very little in this video that is not sped up to some degree, because I spend more time in some of these fights running away because they're just not doable. And, like, we have Tifa and Yuffie here. Tifa has her Final Heaven attack, which you see there. She just shoots all of these random fist attacks, energy at you. That attack, at this level, I'm level 99 at this point, does an exceptional amount of damage if I'm caught in the full force of it. Same goes for Goofy and Donald. I think Donald gets one-shotted at one point by one of these hero attacks, and I'm blown away. And so I spend more of my time running around, casting lightning, just avoiding a direct confrontation with either of these two, because I can't stand toe-to-toe against them.
At level 99.
At level 90, yeah, I can't...
Which is insane.
If it were one of them, I might be able to stand toe-to-toe, even as a one-on-one. Sora versus Tifa or Sora versus Yuffie by themselves. See, Donald's dead. I knew he died at this point. I didn't know if he got one shot, but I know he dies. But the fact that it's Sora, Donald, and Goofy versus the two of them, and there is no chance of taking a hit full force. And that's some of the only hits that they've got. Tifa has maybe 3 attacks, and they're all based off of her limit break. She's got a tornado-style kick that I assume is based off her somersault kick, and Final Heaven, and then a couple of punch moves. Yuffie has her teleports, and then she has her giant pinwheel that hits us 3 or 4 times for a decent amount of damage. So instead I have to spend more of my time running away from them than actually fighting them. And even Yuffie, again, I was complaining that you have to get a finishing hit on her, which is why I actually used the Fenrir in these fights, so that I could guarantee a finished blow on any of these people that I'm fighting, otherwise they won't die.
Yeah.
Because this fight, Cloud and Tifa, Cloud is immune to lightning. I can hit him with lightning until I'm blue in the face. It will not damage him.
So you essentially have to lightning Tifa to death and then go after Cloud.
Except Cloud, his attacks make him very hard to hit. So the best strategy I found for Cloud is just sit there right in his face and spam reflect and hope that he attacks.
And that's not a fun fight.
It's not. That's not a fun fight. That's a kind of piss-poor strategy. Now, I can understand wanting to make Cloud kind of a difficult character because it's Cloud. He's a flagship Final Fantasy character. All of these are flagship Final Fantasy characters.
Yep.
But make it rewarding, make it fun to fight. Don't make it, I'm sitting here gliding around the arena casting Thunder to take one out, and then spamming Reflect to take the other out. Because I have no other means of doing anything. The only thing we have in this are limit attacks and magic. Because obviously our drive gauge is off limits because of the rules for this section of the tournament.
Yep.
So, if I could go final form against Cloud, that's actually a little more rewarding. We actually get to do that against the Cloud and Leon fight. And it takes me forever to actually do it, because I'm sitting here paying attention to the current rules of the tournament, which is a timing, and I was sitting there screaming that I didn't think I could do it as I was playing it, until I realized, wait, I have my drive gauge. It's not... And that's one of the downsides of this section of the tournament is... because the rules are constantly changing, you're paying more attention to what rules you're affected by
Then which ones aren't
which ones
affecting you
are
anymore.
not active at the moment. So I forgot halfway through the fight that I could use drive gauge. In final form actually makes it worthwhile to take them out because the attacks actually can cut through some of their attack animations.
I have to admit to you that I'm very glad that I was not here when you were doing this.
Yeah, you should be. The Hades Paradox really did take a lot of the fun of Kingdom Hearts out for me. It's not a fun tournament. The other tournaments in Kingdom Hearts 1, now, they can be long, they can be difficult, but they were still fun because something you got out of it made it worthwhile.
Yep.
These, not so much. I'm just sitting here spamming Reflect, hoping that Cloud does Cross Slash, because that's actually the most rewarding attack that he can do for the damage that it'll reflect back at him. His little dash attack doesn't do a lot of damage, but I actually got him into a pattern in one of his fights where he just kept dashing through my Reflect, but he would be on the opposite end just long enough that he would still get caught in the Reflect damage. And one thing is, I actually did not go into this fight with enough items.
Right there.
Yeah, that little section. If I had had more items, it may have been a different story, but it wouldn't be terribly different.
Yeah.
Than what I actually went through. So it's just depressing that this was how they chose to handle these fights. Because here I've got Fenrir, I've got as high attack stats as I can muster. I've got the Save the King and Queen pluses on Donald and Goofy, and we're still getting mowed down by a single person.
Yep.
And I went through seeing if anyone else had done these fights on YouTube, and a couple of people had. And I watched their strategies, and their strategies were reflect the fireballs from Leon at other people. And, like, here's Cloud and Leon. Yeah. This is the one that I had where I honestly forgot that I have a drive gauge, because I'm sitting here looking.
Seriously only have 5 minutes to kill these two?
Yeah. That is my exact thought. I only have 5 minutes. That's not doable. And as we see here, Cloud is immune to most magics, because I'm reflecting Leon's fireball back at Cloud, and Cloud's taking no damage. I don't know if he's attacking at the same time, and therefore negating the attack, or if he's just immune to the attack itself. But I don't stick around to find out. I get caught up in some of their attacks and almost bite it.
Yep.
And I'm basically just sitting here praying that I can get away from them.
Long enough to cure yourself, basically.
And then do some damage to them. And that's when I remember, hey, final form's a thing. I have a drive gauge. So At which
point, everything goes batshit, apparently.
At which point, the tables turn completely. I am now destroying them. Literally. Leon does not stand a chance. But I go for Cloud first because he's actually my bigger threat. Because
he's a bigger problem.
Leon's a joke at this point. I just go in and I'm off the floor with him. He gets maybe one hit off me, and then that's it. And this is the fight that takes up the bulk of the time. This is the majority of the last fight, or the last section of the video here. And it's all 4 of them. I don't stand a chance. Because this fight, I do not have a drive meter. Or I have the drive meter, but drives are restricted. Drives and summons are not available. It's just, that is the rules for this section of the tournament. It's just Sora. Sora, magic, and attacks. That's all you get.
Well, it's not that drives aren't available, it's because you don't have the people that you need to use the drives.
No, I didn't have them against Cloud. It's drives are restricted. You cannot use them. It is just Sora. Sora goes at it alone. Just magic, just attacks. So I spend most of my time running the hell away from them and hoping to not die in the process. I managed to take Tiff out, and I think that's a victory. And I was wrong. so overly wrong. And that's, again, just not fun. And I try reflecting Leon's fireballs, and it doesn't do any good because Cloud goes all Omni-Slash on me, and unless you are aiming to dodge him specifically, he's going to catch you in the attack. I can't tell you how many times he caught me in the attack where I'm like, oh, I should be safe from this. No, not safe at all. Like, right there. And because he catches me in the attack, it does so much of damage to my current health that I can't risk casting spells, because on the off chance someone else gets an attack off, I'm dead.
So you have to heal.
I have to heal, which means I have no MP, and therefore I have to take more time to hope that I can do some damage to someone. The only saving grace I had is I had MP Rage on, which every time I took damage, it healed my MP gauge. It doesn't heal it when it's recovering like this. It only happens if we have the blue MP gauge and MP to spare, it will restore. It doesn't do anything for us here when it's recharging. But I take a couple of hits of damage, which keep me at full MP for the most part, which allows me to get a couple extra thunders off on the people who are actually damaged by it. But for the most part, I'm grasping at straws this entire fight, because I have no items, which is mostly my fault, but even then I wouldn't have had too many items because I knew I would have used them
by the time you got to this point, yeah.
And then I'm stuck with the last two people who are just ridiculous to deal with, because Yuffie, she teleports, you can't keep a lock on her, and Cloud's just a demon. He's a demon who flies all over the stage, and he's impossible to predict, and his attacks are not easily telegraphed, and he does a shit ton of damage.
Especially not when you're trying to pay attention to two people at once.
Yeah.
If you're just fighting Cloud, then it's a little bit easier to watch him, but
the fact that you've got two people who are their actions are completely unpredictable. You have no idea where they're going. You have no idea how they're going to attack. You can't keep a lock on one of them to save your life. The only one you can keep a lock on happens to do Omni-Slash, and half the time you don't see him. So this fight takes forever. This was the bulk of the Hades Paradox cut for me. This is sped up, I think, 200 to 300%. And you see how long it takes in this video. It is the longest single segment of this video.
Yep.
And I really feel bad that I didn't get to leave the boss fights in their entirety, but to be honest, there would be nothing entertaining to watch about it, because there's very little entertaining as it is. I'm running away from these people.
Except you could possibly have heard him cuss a whole lot.
Yeah, if I kept it live and recorded it, you would have heard a lot of cussing. That it would have just been rated NC-17 just from the string of obscenities that I was able to string together in this fight. And this isn't even the worst fight. Like I said, the one we fight with the enemies with the tail that swings around, that was even worse. I lost it completely in that fight. I actually had to stop and pause it in that fight. Take a step away, take a deep breath, get a small snack, and...
He's got a little bit of a temper on him.
Yes, just a bit. And it's amplified. And that's the second to last fight. The last fight is just a fight against Hades, and it's not even any more difficult. He just happens to have a ridiculous amount of HP. It's no more difficult than it was before. Except that it's just Sora and Hercules. I think the last time we did this particular style boss fight with the Aura Sphere, we had teammates. So it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's really not. Just hit the Aura Spheres back at him, and this fight's kind of a joke. He goes all, Super Saiyan on us, but it's really not hard. I just kept this one in because it is in fact the last fight. And the fight before all of the Final Fantasy characters is a souped-up Cerberus fight. I believe in the dark, too. So, not that the in the dark matches do anything, especially for something as large as Cerberus. You can see its heads.
Well, and I mean, honestly, all you have to do is lock on and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So... And the fact that the aura spheres do damage to him in general, so if you want...
You could just sit there and hit aura spheres at him.
Yeah, just... His attack where he shoots the fireball up into the sky, I thought that was really cute because that was one of the slights we have used in Chain of Memories. I thought that was really cute. Because that's actually his most damaging attack. Because you can't predict where the fireballs will land.
Yeah.
So you just have to stay out of that section. Just altogether. So, yeah. That is the Hades Paradox Cup. And with that, that's 100%ing the game. If you do everything else,
almost.
Well, apparently these tournaments are the hardest things
left.
to unlock because people don't know how to unlock certain requirements. So if you can do this, you can 100% this game. That's really all there is to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and we will see you in the next installment where we hopefully get back to live gameplay. So till then, later everyone.